So today we're going to discuss the plant and animal reproduction. Plant reproduction. The plant reproductive organ of plants is the flower. The flower has four sets of organs, namely sepal, petal, stamen, and pistils. Petals are collectively called corolla. Sepals are called calyx. A flower that has four sets of organs is said to be complete, and one that lacks one of these organs is described as complete. The pistil consists of three parts: the stigma, style, and ovary. The stamen has the anther and the filament. Sexual reproduction in plants. Pollination. Pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of a flower. As you can see at the image above. If the transfer involves the same flower, it is termed self-pollination. Okay. If the transfer is from one flower of one plant to another plant, it is called cross-pollination. Take note. The agents of pollination are insects, wind, water. The birds is birds and humans. Fertilization and flowering happens through a process called pollination. The pollen grain that lands the stigma develops a pollen tube that grows down through the style into the ovary, where the ovule is located. The fertilized egg, called the zygote, develops into the embryo. The ovule becomes the seed. The ovary swells up and ripens to form a fruit. Inside the seed, plant embryo is located. So let us proceed to the asexual reproduction in plants. A strawberry plant can reproduce by sending out horizontal stem called runners. Along the runners, new roots and shoots develop at every node. The type of reproduction in plants from each vegetative part, such as stem, roots, and leaves, is called vegetative reproduction. So, for example, new plants grow from the eyes of potatoes, cloves of garlic bulbs, and runners of Bermuda grass, tubers of potatoes, and rhizome or ginger. The next is animal reproduction. Sexual reproduction in animals. The representative animals are earthworm, frog, and chicken. Earthworm. Both male and female reproductive organs are found in the same earthworm, such as called monoecious and hermaphrodites. Although monoecious cells, fertilization rarely occurs. So, minsan lang to nangyayari. The eggs of one worm are fertilized by the sperm from another worm through copulation. Two worms stretch out and bring their ventral surfaces together. One worm passes its sperm into the seminal receptacles of another, at the same time receives sperm into its own receptacle. The cetylome secretes a slime into the tube and passes the opening of oviducts, where eggs are laid and fertilization occurs. So, yan po yung picture. So, let us proceed to the frog. Frog. The reproductive organ of frog consists of gonads. The female produces the ova or eggs, and the male produces the sperms. During mating season, the eggs escape into the body cavity towards the oviduct and stored in the uterus. During mating time, the mate and the female enter a pond where the male mounts the back of the female, then the back of the female, then the female drops her mass of eggs, and the male sheds his sperm over the eggs, then the eggs are fertilized in the water. So as you can see, during mating season nila ay yung sperm ng lalaki na frog ay napupunta sa egg hanggang ito ay na-drop down sa water and it fertilized under the water. And the chicken, the eggs are released in the oviduct. They are surrounded by a yolk. The rooster places the opening of his reproductive organ against the opening of the ends. Sperm swim up the oviduct and fertilizes some of the eggs. An egg deposited egg white around the yolk. It is called albumin. A shell made of calcium. It is formed around the egg membrane. Then the hen drops the egg out of her body, incubates her eggs, that is, sits and worms the eggs. The single called zygote grows into a many-celled embryo. So let us proceed in asexual reproduction in plants. Asexual reproduction, one-celled organism can reproduce an exact copy of the parents by binary fission, budding, and fragmentation. Number 1. Fission. The individual divides into two halves, after which it grows to the original form. Paramecium reproduce in this way. This binary fission, ito ay nagdi-divide sa dalawa. And number 2, budding. The parent organism produces growing a replica in the form of an outgrowth called a bud in some parts of its body. After it has grown enough, it falls off and becomes an exact copy of its parent. Hydra and sponges are examples. Number 3. Fragmentation. Separate pieces of the parent organism can develop into an individual. Starfishes and flatworms are the examples.